If you're running a Starlink Mini, you need three things: power, a mount, and something to hold it. The Orbynexa Starlink Mini power stand claims to provide all three things in a single unit, and at a claimed 166.5 watt-hours, it is the highest capacity integrated solution that I've come across for the Starlink Mini. Therefore, in today's video, I'm going to see if it really does that. I'm going to test the build quality, validate how much of that 166 watt-hours is actually usable, and give you my honest opinion about it. That way you can decide if it's worth your money. Let's get straight to business. The Eagle-eyed subscribers would have noticed that this unit is no stranger to my channel. It was the tripod that I was using to hold the Starlink Mini in my PeakDo PowerLink 2 review, which I rated very highly. And that video is linked in the description below for you to watch later. However, whilst I was using it as a tripod, it is certainly not a tripod. For transparency, Orbynexa did send me this unit to test and review, and I have been using it now for several weeks. No sponsorship, no money was exchanged, and no affiliate links. They didn't preview this video and they have no input on the results whatsoever. They did, however, provide a discount code for me to share with you, but it is not linked to any affiliate commission. With that out of the way, let's see what you get in the pack. In the box, you get the Orbynexa wrapped in a protective pouch, a long braided USB-C to USB-C cable, and a medium length DC to DC cable. The body is constructed from aluminium with the folding tripod legs and mounting rings made out of plastic. At the top, there is a plastic cap, not quite round, but perfectly shaped to fit inside of the factory pole mount of the Starlink Mini. Unscrew that cap, and underneath you'll find a standard 1/4 inch tripod thread mount. This is where the magic is, and I'll come back to it shortly. The body is beautifully constructed. It feels in the hand as good as it looks. It's not heavy, but it feels solid and quality, not plasticky. The tripod legs are held together with a clip mechanism, and the legs are released by simply pressing the button on the bottom of the unit. On the face of the Orbynexa, you'll find a weatherproof rubber strip housing the on-off button and covering two power ports. Offset slightly to the left are 4 small LED lights indicating the charge level and state. The on-off button is exactly that, a simple click to turn the power delivery on or off. Just like that. There is a single USB-C port for input and output at a 65 watt maximum, and an output-only DC port. Both the ports can be used simultaneously to power your Starlink and charge a device at the same time, at a combined output of 100 watts. But it does not support output of 100 watts from a single port. However, it is also worth noting that pass-through charging is not possible on this power bank, meaning that it cannot be charged and used at the same time. Also, the ports are not waterproof when in use, and for this reason, I'm not going to do my rain test like I did with the PeakDo battery. Overall, it is a simple but very well made and presented unit. Using the Orbynexa with the Starlink Mini is very straightforward. Secure the top of the unit into the Starlink pole holder, and for those who are not aware, this is supplied as part of the Starlink Mini kit. Press the release button on the bottom to extend the tripod legs, connect the Starlink to the Orbynexa using the DC cable, and press the on button. It is as simple as that. What makes the Orbynexa really special is that 1/4 inch thread that I mentioned earlier. It opens up a whole new dimension for this product, and it transforms it into a useful high-powered tripod for a wide range of uses well beyond the Starlink Mini. You can use it to mount and power cameras, monitors, projectors, portable lights, my monitor and laptop, a Nintendo Switch or an Amazon Fire Stick for movie streaming. Really, you can use it for anything that needs a tripod. And this is where it really got me excited. If you mount the PeakDo battery to it and enable pass-through power, this gives you an advertised power rating of 265 watt-hours without a bulky power station or cables. More than plenty for streaming, gaming, or entertainment at the same time. And when it's not in use, the Orbynexa packs down to the size of a very small umbrella, practical in a backpack, glove box, or anywhere at camp or your vehicle. A genuinely versatile item, especially for those content creators who are already carrying a mini tripod. Orbynexa claims a capacity of 166.5 watt-hours with an advertised runtime of up to 6 hours in general use, and a charge time from 0% to 100% of 3 hours. From my research, this appears to be the highest capacity integrated battery and mount system for a Starlink Mini on the market. but please do let me know in the comments if I'm mistaken. As I have done so in the past with the other power banks, it's time for us to see the real-life capacity of this battery and connect the Orbynexa to my discharge tester. Just like before, all tests will be carried out with 30 watts of constant power draw, and this is on the upper end of what the Starlink Mini will consume in normal operation. But I would rather give you underestimated runtimes as opposed to best case scenarios. The cutoff voltage for the DC port testing will be set at 11.5 volts. And I know that the Starlink needs higher voltages to operate, but this battery is lithium and the BMS will cut off when there is insufficient charge to give power. I want to also make sure that we record every little last bit of power that this battery can give. The Orbynexa delivered 132 watt-hours via the DC port with a runtime of 4 hours and 24 minutes. Solid numbers that will far exceed the claimed runtime of 6 hours of general use. However, at around 20% efficiency losses, it is on the upper limit when compared to the other power banks I've tested. The USB-C power delivery was also tested to draw 30 watts. However, to replicate fast charging, the tester was set at 20 volts with 1.5 amp draw, and the cutoff was set at 18 volts. The Orbynexa delivered 143.9 watt-hours with a runtime of 4 hours and 51 minutes. And I was quite surprised to see that the USB-C power delivery was more efficient. It provided almost 12 watt-hours of additional energy and 27 more minutes of runtime compared to the DC port. The USB-C outperforming the DC is the exact opposite of what I've seen from every other battery pack I've tested. And it's an interesting result that is genuinely useful to know because this means that running your Starlink Mini from the USB-C for this particular power bank will give you longer runtime as opposed to using the DC jack. Regardless of which output you choose to use, based on my testing, you can expect well over 5 hours of runtime under heavy continuous use in the real world. And by the way, if you're finding this information useful, give the video a thumbs up to help other people find it too. Let's now look at what worked well and what can be improved so you can make an informed decision. Starting off with what I like. This is an incredibly innovative product with uses well beyond its advertised purpose. I have owned it for several weeks now and I have used it many times. I feel like it is a must-have product for any content creator or camper who already carries a mini tripod and batteries. And to give you an idea, a single Orbynexa has the same battery capacity as 10 of my Sony cameras that are powering the camera right now, and those batteries cost almost $100 each. A pretty good saving, but even better than that, the camera can stay powered on and continue recording the whole time without having to change out the batteries when you're using it. And this is very important for things like time lapses or lengthy videos. As I said previously, I also like how it feels in the hand. It has a good premium look and feel to it, and the cold metal case feels really nice and expensive, not cheap. The capacity is the best that I've tested in the category, capable of running the Starlink Mini and powering my mobile office at camp for hours. However, specific to the Starlink Mini users, it is really all you need. A single product that delivers the power, the mount, and the tripod, reducing both cost and complexity. Perfect for those who hike or are limited with space. And finally, it kind of sounds like a given these days, but I really like how it charges via USB-C, and you would think that this is now the standard, but not all Starlink batteries that I have tested have this feature. Before we move on to the negatives, if you have used the Orbynexa or something similar, I would be curious to know how it's held up for you, so let me know in the comments below. Now, nothing is perfect, and it's my job in a review to find the flaws so you don't have to find those flaws yourself. And I do have genuine feedback to share with you. Starting with my biggest issue of the Orbynexa, and that is that pass-through charging is not supported, meaning you can't charge it and use it at the same time. For a product that is designed for remote use, this is a real limitation because you need to be able to charge it at every opportunity you can, for example when you're using solar. And this limitation is compounded by the fact that the USB-C input is limited to 65 watts, not 100 watts. The larger the battery capacity, the longer it takes to charge the battery, and it needs to take in as much power as it can get, as fast as it can get it, especially when you're relying on solar or have limited charging time. Next is the output efficiency of the battery. At around 80% for DC output, it's not poor, but it's not great either. The fact that the USB-C had a higher output than the DC port, and the other batteries I tested showed the opposite, I wonder if it's a programming or wiring related matter rather than cell capacity. Also, not really a problem, but a second USB-C output would have been a very nice addition, so you can charge multiple devices without using a USB-C splitter. And finally, like I said in my previous Starlink Mini battery review, the PeakDo set the benchmark, and Bluetooth connectivity and a display screen would have taken this battery to another level entirely. Taking all the pros and cons into consideration, I feel like the Orbynexa Starlink Mini power stand is an innovative product that solves a real-world problem, not only for Starlink Mini users, but almost every single outdoor content creator and explorer. The limitations around the pass-through charging and input speed are real, and they are worth factoring into your decision depending on how you plan to use it, but to me they're offset by the build quality, the capacity, and the versatility. Despite having other batteries, this Orbynexa is going to certainly have a permanent place in my setup, at home, in my travels, and at camp. And if you'd like to see how the Orbynexa stacks up against those other Starlink batteries I've tested, the links are in the description below. Worth having a look before you make a decision. Also, if this honest technical breakdown is useful to you, hit that subscribe button as there will be plenty more content coming. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.